Thank you so much. Well, the Louisiana governor, he's pushing a new immigration crackdown. It's one of the most aggressive that we've seen so far from the state. Governor Landry signed a sweeping executive order today, and Rachel Hanley starts our coverage with a closer look at what this order has to say.
Soon, when Kenner police arrest someone accused of a crime, they'll have new tools at their disposal to determine if that person is an undocumented immigrant.
I think this is going to be a big step as far as citizen safety, as far as efficiency.
The department is one of 2 local law enforcement agencies in Louisiana that has signed on to a special agreement with ICE. A 287G program is an agreement between local and state law enforcement and the federal government to enforce immigration laws.
It's more efficient for us to do our own background investigations and checks on people that are suspected of being in this country illegally. Right now, if we get somebody that has no identification, I compare them like a ghost, they just show up. We're limited to what access we have to immigration data. And
now Governor Landry has signed a new executive order pushing other agencies to join too. Kenner Police Chief Keith Conley spoke to us from Washington, D.C. He traveled there with Governor Landry for the signing of the executive order.
We met with a lot of our partners, the executive directors of both HSI and ICE, to get the logistics and to get a better idea of how we can be a better partner to them and they to us.
ICE lays out 3 different types or models of 287G agreements. The jail enforcement model targets unauthorized immigrants who have been charged with other crimes. That's the model Kenner police are under.
We're still in the beginning phases of it. We still have to have our officers go through training, which is one of the things we spoke about today, some of the log jams as far as training and getting our guys certified.
The task force model lets law enforcement agencies seek out immigration law violations during their routine police duties. ICE gives the example of, quote, identifying an alien at a DUI checkpoint. We learned Thursday that the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries will use this model. In a statement, its communications director said that specific operational plans have not been finalized at this time. Finally, there's the Warrant Service Officer program. That lets local officers execute warrants for immigration violations for people that are already in their local jail. Operation GEAUX does not specify which model law enforcement agencies should join. That means at this point, there are still a lot of questions about what this enforcement will look like.
All right, we've confirmed that state police, they're on board with the new policy, but the order directs state agencies to comply. So we know that they're involved already, but local agencies, they're given way more leeway here in whether they want to comply or not. So tonight we brought in our political analyst, Clancy Dubose. Clancy, do you see any issues with doing this by executive order?
Not necessarily. The governor certainly has the authority to order state law enforcement to cooperate and to comply with his executive orders, because that all comes under the executive branch of government.
Okay, so of course another question the governor's office has not answered. There's a lot of things that come under this as far as who's being targeted here. These news partnerships, are they targeting all unauthorized immigrants, or are they just the ones that are already facing other criminal charges, or who are we looking for here?
Well, that's unclear. You know, it says, the order reads that people who are in the U.S. illegally and engaged in criminal activity. Well, criminal activity is a very broad term. I mean, if they run a stop sign, that could technically be, or if they, just being here against their will. What about people who came here when they were kids under DACA? Is that going to apply? And how so? And, so they're going to say, well, you don't have a passport, and you're not a U.S. citizen, and you don't have a visa, or you don't have asylum, therefore you're here illegally, you're engaged in criminal activity, we're going to throw you out. That might be somebody who owns a business and is paying taxes and has no criminal history, or it could be, I kind of read between the lines from what the governor said, that they want to target people engaged in or affiliated with gang activity. I don't think anybody has an issue with that, or very few people would. But then, in terms of the local folks, many local law enforcement agencies, especially in some of the rural areas, they're pretty strained, and even Orleans Parish too, police and the sheriff's office,
and whatnot.
They have manpower issues. So if cops are going to have to detain somebody and hold them, that's taking them off the street potentially, and is it going to overcrowd the jail, which is already an issue. So there's a lot of logistical issues, and there are legal issues as to what criminal activity means and how broadly they want to cast this net.
All right, Clancy, I know that we're going to be talking about this one a lot more, especially as we explore it a little bit more. Thank you so much for your insight, as always.
Thank you.